stop requested.
I sit on the steps, I smoke some herb. A minute ago I was standing by the curb, smoking herb in the suburb of Washington D.C, the capital of incarceration. Some call it the land of the free. We the people are wondering how we are included
in $34 trillion in debt. It makes me upset, and we're wondering why, as y'all all fly in and out and don't care and say goodbye. Now I think it's really funny that just a few years ago, $3 trillion seemed like a lot, bro. But hey, sister, don't worry about it though. $34 trillion, a lot more, and that's more than $100,000 each. That's if you fucking look at the numbers and then you can teach. If you really twist it backwards, upside down, and forwards, all these billions are sending to other countries into other bank accounts are really just paying it forward. Because if our economy collapses, $60 billion just kind of seems like a little happens. But when it was only $3 billion, that was just like a few million. But now, since it's all the trillions, who gives a fuck about 60 billion? Or 16 billion, or any of the other billions that we give without a fucking shiv? Who are these people trying to forgive? Because look, stop forgiving and start living and looking and reading and learning, because if you don't do that, no one will start discerning. Does everyone really alive in the United States of America who pays taxes see clearly? And I think you should think about that really deeply and dearly. Each person from baby to old owes $100,000 taxes plus to the federal government. And that's not a twist or any fucked up thing on what I meant. Now they playing the music up top to mess up my crowd. Give me a minute and I'll stop.
Oh my, oh. Okay, think about the 34 trillion and all the millions and billions. Think about how much they've been robbing and stealing. The gold rush of 18 fuck you too. Come on, man. Is that what they do? There's a bus driving by, and let me put it this way. There's a bus driving by, and if you cut that bus in half, they say in 1969 we flew to the moon, and that basically set up on a bunch of street signs, basically. So like street post signs, something the size of a half of a modern day transportation bus on a few street post signs, it looks like. We flew to the moon with that in 1969, and then they flew off of the moon and flew back to the Earth like that. Granted, we're just now figuring out satellite orbiting and like actually getting into orbit with people normally. So like we're not really quite flying to the moon yet, really now. But we did it in 1969, and you can go look at the object that we flew to the moon in at the Air and Space Museum in Washington, D.C. if you can stand standing in the line. It's free. So I'm out here in Reston, Virginia, and I want to put some of my stupid rhymes up in you. I grew up here and skateboarded a lot, got drunk and stole some shit and barely ever got caught. I worked at a lot of jobs and hung out, I guess, with a lot of snobs. You see, I used to work at Giant for 2.5 years for cigarettes and smokes and beers and like skateboard stuff. And then there's this thing called gasoline and insurance. And before you knew that, we had a little bit more reassurance. But nowadays, you have to get 2 or 3 jobs that pays just to take care of your families because of the economies and because of what they have done to UMA. So unfortunately, I have now to go and get on the train and say, what up, yo? Because when I get back to D.C., it's actually still just me. Because I've been walking them streets waiting peacefully. Where's my friends and my family as they walk around me somehow mystically, electronically, and physically? But they don't really ever talk or help me or maybe even say hi or buy a food for me. So now, as you can see, something happened to me. I fell off of a construction site about 15 stories. And now I'm going to have to go now because I'm very, 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 very boring. Very boring.
And just to be clear, I came out here, I was going to go to the Starbucks. I did. I ordered some food and a cup of tea and a water, and then I was not able to get online on their internet. So I left and I'm going back to Washington, D.C. So the founding farmers of the United States of America were slave masters and land thieves and murderers and rapists. And they sold their own children. Then you have the old Ebbett Grill right across from the White House, and then this is apparently the Ebbett House, the resting station. Comstock, you know. Founding farmers, the gold they stole from everybody and said it was magically found in California.